Okay, so in this one we're going to talk about how to write the equations for horizontal and vertical lines. So, a horizontal line is a line that goes like the horizon, like the sun rises. So that's going to be straight across, okay? So if we look here, this pink line would be an example of the horizontal line, and this blue line here would be another horizontal line. And we also have vertical lines. Now a vertical line is going to be one that goes straight up and down. So examples of that would be this green line here and this black line here. Okay, so to figure out what the equation is for either one of these lines, what we can do is we can take a look at what our coordinates are. So if we look at this pink line, let's start with this. So if I were to write out the coordinates for G, I would write them out as my x value being 4 and my y value being 8. Okay, so I'm going to write that down over here on my little whiteboard once I clear it off. And so I have my first coordinate of 4, 8, right? Now, if I go back to my line here, if I look at my next point, this H point, I've got an x value of 14. That means I have to go over 14, and I have to go up 8. So my next coordinate is going to be 14, 8. Now, if I look at those two, you'll notice that the y value is the same for each one. And that tells us that our equation has to have the same y value. So my equation is going to be y equals, and then whatever number y equals. So in this case, it's going to be y equals 8. And that tells us that whatever x is, y always equals 8. So if I go back to that graph, if I were to choose any point on this line, say this one, I would have x equals 7 down here, and I would have y equals 8. Okay? So no matter what my x is, my y always equals 8. So now, if we take a look at this blue line, same sort of thing applies. So if I look at those points, A, I've got x equals 0, and y equals 4. Okay? So I have to go over 0, right? I stay right on my axis, and then I go up 4. Then if I look at B, I go over 11, up 4. So in this case, I've got 11, 4. That means that again, it's my y value. So I've got y equals a value of 4. All right? So when we have a horizontal line, we have a y equals equation. Okay? And that's because all of our y values are going to stay the same. Now, if we go back and we look at our vertical lines, in this case, it's going to be a little bit different. So let's take a look at our points again. So in this case, I go over 3 and I go up 12. So my first coordinate's going to be 3, 12. Okay, so my first coordinate is 3, 12. Remember that this first one is going to be our x value, and the second one is going to be our y value. All right, now if we go back to our graph, let's take a look at point D. Point D is going to be over 3 up 2. Okay, so that means that we go over 3 up 2. So in this case, we look and we see that both of our x's are going to be the same. So in this case, our equation is going to be x equals 3. And this is a vertical line. Okay, let's look at our second vertical line. So in this case, we've got E, which is going to be, so in this case, we have E, which is going to be over 16, up 9. So my first coordinate's going to be over here, and we've got 16, 9. Okay? And then we look for our second coordinate down here. It's going to be 16, 1. So I go over 16, up 1. So in this case, if we look at our coordinates, we've got 2 that have 16 as the x. So in this case, our line's going to be x equals 16. So again, if we have a vertical line, it means that all the x values are going to be the same. So we have an x equals equation. All right. So what you will see in your books is that there is some lines here, okay? And they've given you letters for each one, and you're going to name them and write out the equation. So if you look at A, we go over 1. We know it's a vertical line, which means that all the x values are going to be the same, which means that our line for A is going to be x equals 1. Okay? And then you'll go through and you'll find B, and C, D, so on and so forth. Okay? List the points of intersection for each pair of lines. So you're going to go, okay, A and B intersect at the point 1, 1. So this is just naming coordinates, okay? B and G intersect at the point 4, 1, okay? So again, I'm just looking at where those two lines meet and just make sure that you label which two graphs you're talking about, okay? Then what you're going to do is question 2 in your books. So you're going to copy in your graph axes, and then you're going to plot each one of these points, and I want you to draw them out in a different color so that each line is a different color. So set 1 will be one line, set 2 will be another color, set 3 will be another color, and set 4 will be another color. Okay? And you do not need to worry about question 3.